Yesterday, I spoke at a TEDx panel and I highlighted a few topics that feel very important to me. Feminine power versus feminism. And the main theme of yesterday night was why professional success does not necessarily mean that women also experience that same success in intimacy and why this is happening, as well as the confusion we live between union and separation, between women, the world, and our own bodies. There is such a big difference between what it means to be empowered in the feminine and what it means to be a feminism. So let's start from here. Actually, what does it mean to even be feminine at all? Is it the clothes that we wear? Is it a certain aesthetic? Is it a style? Or is actually something much deeper than that? So in my view, the feminine is our capacity to be open to life, to be receptive, to listen to your body, to feel, to be alive. It is your understanding of your own magnetism and your mastery over it. It is your capacity to preserve that magnetism that we hold without actually abandoning yourself. This is actually what is truly hard in life. It is doing, achieving, having that success without abandoning who we truly are, our truth, without abandoning our real emotions and authentic feelings, and be able to express them in any kind of relationship, in any kind of environment. It is your capacity to actually sense what is happening beneath the surface, because the feminine sees underneath. One of our powers is intuition, is this psychic power that we hold for generations, and we were killed for using it. So it comes even from the witches, from the Inquisition. So we have this capacity to see beneath the surface, to see in the unknown, and actually to cut through the confusion, not by forcing, but actually by tuning in so deeply that your energy itself reorganizes the room. This is true feminine power. Feminine power, in my opinion, is not about acting like men. It is not about becoming harder in order to be respected. It has nothing to do about taking man's place into the world, which is what I see most women doing. It is about living beside them, alongside them, without losing ourselves. It is about elevating them, inspiring them, just by who we truly are, just by being in our essence, by showing how can we move forward, how can we reorganize a room, how can we bring balance when we are in balance. Because one of the shadows of the feminine is chaos. When a woman is all over the place, she creates chaos. When a woman is centered in her energy, when her energy is in balance, she brings harmony, she brings true leadership. And so, it's through the truth that we carry in every word we say. It's about our integrity. It's through our devotion, through that through as well. So it's by the way we stand in our principles, the way we don't collapse when chaos is installed in the outside. It's our capacity to hold the energy, is the capacity, our capacity to relate with others, is the capacity to be able to relate in a deeper level and to see in a deeper level. This is a completely different thing. Many women want to rise while ignoring all of this and are often moving from a wound. If I'm truly honest, it is often a wound that comes from generations. Generational trauma, ancestral trauma. Women's power was taken away for so many generations. Suppressed, denied, humiliated, controlled, and of course, there is pain in the field. On top of that, it has been so long ago that for many generations, we don't have the right education how to be in the feminine. So this is the first generation where we are retrieving back this power. And the only way is through connecting with our bodies, with our intuition, because we don't have schools around how to be in our feminine energy anymore. There are a few lineages, ancient lineages, that have preserved some practices, some knowledge. And I'm very grateful to have studied these lineages and be able to be able to spread, to create an academy. But this even generation of my mother, this was not possible, at least in the environment where I live. So we are actually the first generation after so many years of suppression that we are able to having a voice if we choose it, if we choose to really tune in into our power, to meet who we truly are, we can have that choice with much more freedom than years ago. So the problem what I feel here is that at the same time, we carry generations of pain. It's in the field, it is in our bodies, because as I said, it is passed through generations. So many women rise with a subtle layer underneath that they are not fully aware of. And to be honest, I truly believe that we all carry that, either from our ancestors, either from the collective field that we are affected. And so all women carry, and until a woman does this inner work, I believe all women, without exception, need to do this inner work, because we all carry a subtle layer that is this pain, this rage, this grief from these generations where we couldn't be fully a woman in her power. And so many women are rising with this subtle layer that is revenge, which is like a hidden layer in everything that they do. They carry like a subtle anger towards men, even towards women. Anger that is understandable, but actually is still distorted if not made conscious, if they are not aware of. This layer actually is the fool that makes them move forward, which there is some positive points, which women, because of that anger, they feel the power, they feel this force, like now is the time, I really want to rise. But at the same time, they can rise numbing their truth, numbing a deep and true connection with others, and losing the sense why they are doing what they are doing. Are they doing from a place of I want people to listen to my message, or are they rising from a place of I have a wound and I know I want the validation and I want to prove that I am the one in my generation that can make it. I am the one that will prove to the man who didn't believe in me that I can make it. So we have to be very honest how we are rising. It's not about just rising, it's about how we are rising and from where we are rising. And that is, I think, the main issue and the main question. We should really have this honesty and sit and ask to ourselves. So I also observe that there is this subtle violence in the energy field. And the problem is that unhealthy rage can sometimes be confused with truth. It can be confused with honesty. It can be confused with power. Because truth, when we want to name a shadow in someone, when we want to have a deep conversation, we don't start a conversation like, with all smiles and positive energy. There is a problem, and we have to be in reality. There is a problem, let's face it. Let's face it together with compassion, but let's face it with depth. And so sometimes honesty and raw truth is not often said with in a soft way, let's say. And so many people can confuse that anger with raw truth, like saying, this is how it is. You know, when a person, like in practical reasons, this is how it is. It's normal that people talk to you like that. When your boss talks to you in a bad way and then says, you know, this is how the industry works. I was in your place, and that's how my boss used to talk to me. Learn to have a thick skin, right? So this is when people misuse their power. This is exactly when a person talks with anger, because it's repressed anger, when they are not able to repress emotions, and basically they throw it all over the place to everyone and basically manipulate it, saying, oh, this is the truth, this is how it is, this is like, learn it. This is, learn to have a thick skin. So anger is and is not always power. Sometimes it's pain that has not yet become consciousness. And this is where I think we become confused as culture, because we start to associate empowerment with hardness, with opposition, with fight, proving, and becoming untouchable. True feminine power does not need to dissociate in order to rise. And I want all women to listen to this again. True feminine power does not need to dissociate in order to rise. You don't need to numb your emotions and avoid your feelings and become something you are not in order to rise. This is exactly when women got it all wrong. Because the purpose is that you are able to be an example of embodied leadership. How can you lead? By being in your body, by being in your heart, by being a person who is able to arrive into a company and bring stability and bring harmony, and see people in confusion and see the people fighting and be able to bring the compassion, being able to bring resolution between relationships in a business, being able to bring resolution between the relationships in intimacy. This is where the true feminine power is. Because this is not a skill that men have. Men are not as connected with their heart, with their compassion, with empathy, with sense. They are not as sensitive as women are. So it's really our role to be able to bring that mastery into leadership. And this is why it's so important to not take men's place because they have a role, but to work alongside them, because they need these skills that we have. They need our intuition. They need our capacity to see the shadows and the consequence of that shadows even before we have this power. We have an intuition that is much more amplified, I would say. We are much more sensitive. This is how our biology, this is our anatomy, actually. And so, through feminine power rises, we're remaining whole and connected. Connected to the body, connected to the truth, connected to the heart, discernment, and life. Another question that was asked to me that was very profound is, what do I think women often do not admit? And this is another wound that I believe it amplifies this unhealthy rage even more. And I answered, there is a wound, a deep wound between women. And this wound is the fracture in womanhood itself. Women often do not admit how lonely they feel. Not only unsupported by men, because they feel very unsupported by other women. There is a profound grief here. A grief of not feeling safe in female spaces, of not feeling celebrated enough, of not feeling understood enough. of feeling judged, envied, compared, rejected, and then seen. So many women feel that they need to hold everything alone. I got it all together. I'm able to keep it all together. I'm fine. I don't need you. I will prove that I can make it. And so they become hyper independent. And the flip side of that, it's they never soften enough. Their bodies are always tense somehow. Even if they achieve their goals, even if they achieve their $1 million milestones, their bodies are tense. Their libidos are low. Their vaginas are dry. And I really believe that when they are in this, that I don't need too much. I can do it all alone. And also they don't reveal too much. They also lack the space to be vulnerable. When we are between women and when we feel safe, when we feel held, we feel safe to become more vulnerable. Women lack spaces to be in that inner space, because it's in that inner space that alchemy happens. One of the things that I shared is that the body has the capacity to heal itself. It has the capacity to heal itself from any wound and any disease. What it requires is to relax. Our bodies only relax when we feel safe. When we feel safe in relationships, when we feel safe in our intimate relationships, when we feel safe between friends, when we feel safe in our jobs, our feminine powers rise. And our feminine wounds rise as well. And this is where we have the space to heal, to alchemize. It's when we become more vulnerable in a safe space that we are able to process emotions, that tears flow, that help us to clean our energetic and emotional field. It's when we have breakthroughs, insights, when we come into a feminine inner space, into our deep feminine. And so this is very important. This is why I do my programs, where I do my retreats, and we have weekly meetings, because when a woman has this support, she truly rises as a woman. We do need to rise, not forgetting our femininity. We do need to rise and build our missions, but nothing is more important than our inner home, how our body feels, how does our heart feels. We come first. And being supported by women, being in communities that support us, doing this deep inner work, because it's endless, to be honest. Every day we have a challenge. When we arrive into a next level, from that next level to the next level, there will be lessons the universe will throw at us that will trigger our wounds, that will trigger our abandonment wounds. We will have to deal with new levels of rejection. If, for example, your wound is rejection and abandonment, as you evolve as a woman, you will be also challenged with new situations, with new people that will trigger that wound in a deeper level. So, and this is how we become more resilient, more strong. And here is when we have the power to choose. Do we want do I want to rise by numbing it? And this is when women dissociate, when they split from the body. Or do I want to face it, feeling all the feelings? And that requires support. I don't believe a woman who is truly rising and does not do this feminine work in herself, that she is fully connected with her true feminine potentiality, with her true feminine power. There will be relationships where she feels there is something missing here, like a depth, or there will be an intimacy block. There will be something that is out of the puzzle. The result of that is feeling profoundly unsafe to be a woman in a world where other women themselves may not know how to hold, support, and honor each other. And this is why women have that difficulty in connecting with other women sometimes. This matters more than people think, because unsafety is one of the main reasons why the female body contracts, as I said before. The problem here is when the body contracts, there is another wound that gets activated. The survival wound. When a body is in survival, when we are always tense, when in a fight or flight mood, the body cannot relax. And a body that cannot relax cannot fully open, cannot open to life, cannot open and surrender in intimacy. A body that cannot soften, a soul that cannot forgive, emotions that cannot move. It cannot access desire, libido, pleasure, and deep trust. This is one of the reasons why professional success does not mean success in intimacy, unless the woman knows how to do both. Rise her power in her mission and rise her feminine powers, her femininity at the same time, alongside each other. Many women have learned how to perform, lead, and achieve and produce, and undervaluing how to feel safe and learn how to feel safe. And another problem here is safety is not only in your business. Many women think that, okay, I'm going to build safety by, rising in my business and build my financial ground so I feel safe, I can purchase whatever I want, I can have power of decision. But the truth is, this is still external of you. Because when we depend on outside, we externalize our sense of safety. When our sense of safety is dependent on the outside, third parties, politics, our job, our businesses, whenever they collapse, we collapse. So how can we solve this problem? True safety is not found outside. It's actually found within. There is a point of my life where everything was taken from my ground. My business was rising, my two businesses was rising, and then I was like, well, now I feel good. I can do whatever I want. I'm happy, things are going well. And all of a sudden, I got the notice that I had to leave my house like in 1 week. It was actually not so long ago. And I had problems with my atelier. Was a big mess with the fabrics. Fabrics got lost. Pre-orders that were a complete flop because I had to do a lot of refunds. I was stuck in a country and I had a retreat. I had to cancel my retreat and refund everyone. So I completely collapsed. All of a sudden, in like 1 week, my whole life collapsed. And I was facing an enormous problem, even financially, in my life. So it's hard to not be in the survival in this mood. But how do we find that peace and that stillness? Is actually through training our body to stay still, to trust even when chaos is installed. And that is profoundly hard. I remember to go into the beach and to do my practices, all the practices that I know, breathing for hours, using the tools I have, really connecting with my intuition, listening to my mentors, and having the tools to stay calm. That calmness, that stillness made me find the solution. All of a sudden, I came to Portugal and I had people who I didn't even connect for some time, who gave me a hand, who helped me in many ways emotionally. I came to my country and actually I didn't have my house, and because it was occupied, so I had to even find that physical ground somehow. And I remember it was a very, very tough time, but at the same time, that inner stillness, that breathing in and tuning into my body and finding a way to relax my nervous system, I was seeing the outside shifting. The outside slowly started to shift. And I ended up the year with the best year of my life, actually. But that is when I saw true feminine magic happen. Because there will be times in your life that you cannot change the outside. And that is the biggest mistake we can do. We try to change the outside. We try to change the husband. We try to change the business manager. And actually what the universe is asking us is to reorganize the energy inside, is to learn to relax our nervous system in the most difficult situations and see that when we are all together, we are whole, we affect the entire world. We can reorganize a room when we are whole. And this is extremely hard when everything is collapsing. That was a big mastery, and that recently I had some challenges because everything in life, it's always ups and downs. And my friends were like, how it's incredible how relaxed you are this time. Like 1 year ago, you were like all over the place and you were collapsing, you were like in pieces. And I'm like, because I know now how to hold, I know how to master my emotions, I know how to hold this situation. And I won't allow myself to collapse even if the outside collapses. I'm going to overcome it. And that is true feminine power. And I'm not numbing any emotion, I'm not numbing any feeling, but I'm able to do the alchemy, and I have the tools to do the alchemy that it takes. This increases the quality of our lives. This will increase the quality of our relationships. This will save marriages. This solves big problems in the world. How many of you come home because something in the business or in work or in the relationship happens and a person, screamed at you and because of their wounds, their unresolved wounds, and that completely change your energy, right? It's really important to look at ourselves. Is we impact the field. Every action we take, every word we say impacts the other and can change the mood of others. So if we can be better humans, we will create a positive impact in the world, and that can change because those people around us will change, will be impacted, and the impact that you cause in them will impact others. And this is how without even you seeing in front of you, you are creating a positive impact. So safety must be cultivated within. Also, there is another universal law that I spoke about, which is the mirror effect. Whatever you cultivate inside, life responds to. And this is why, as I said before, money matters, business matters, financial independence matters, sovereignty matters, but your sense of safety is cultivated within. Can never be only from your income. Cannot be dependent on external stability. Safety is always within. Everything outside moves, but the true lesson is how can we be still inside. So if your safety lives outside of you, whenever the external world shakes, you shake. And this is what we cannot allow. I cannot say enough that true safety is cultivated within. And I want to say it 1,000 times along this podcast, because it is the place inside of yourself that remains when everything outside collapses. True safety is the place where you will be able to rest, listen and breathe and choose, when there is no other place that gives you that stability. There will be moments of your life where you feel, I feel there is nowhere where I can be myself or I can truly rest. There will be places you want to cry and you have to be able to hold yourself in that moment, to be able to process it by yourself. And this is how we learn also self-responsibility, with authenticity, with truth, without skipping the processes that are necessary along the way. Feminine power is the capacity to rise without abandoning any part of ourselves that makes us women, is to rise without losing our bodies, without losing our heart, our truth, our humanity, without losing each other. And to me, this is the real work. Maybe this is also how we begin to heal the split that is the great theme. The split between success and intimacy. The split between women and women. The split between women and men. The split between the body and the mind. Feminine power is not just about rising. It is about how we rise and what we refuse to abandon in the process.